back, Spring with Autumn, and it is Monday morning, January 8th, 2024. I get used to saying 24 and writing 24. But I just had just a few comments, and usually when I start off with a few comments, it usually turns into something else. So I don't know. I've just been looking through some of the content, of course, on social media regarding the whole game and this whole selection season. Um, for one, I want to tell you a story about how I got to this point. So here's a confession. First, let me start out by saying I have not really taken a look at. I really not with these candidates on the quote conservative side or whatever your flavor is, okay, on that in that regard. Or but I have noticed that there's one candidate that I was curious about. Um and I've kind of taken the bait because it's interesting. It's a great story, okay? A great story. I think one of these candidates, he has I think he's a fine. He's great. He's very highly intelligent. I think this guy is capable of doing a lot of things, but because of the way that this country, this illusion is built, it's not possible. It's not going to be possible for him to do what he. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm referring to is it Vivek Ramaswamy? Um, I will tell you, I started tuning into this. I got to this point based on watching some of these social media, these content creators, e.g., off the Officer Tatum. Okay, so I was watching. I've been tracking the Officer Tatum for a while. I've been not tracking him just directly because after 2020, I just think that he was his trajectory to me was unclear. But I still think it's unclear, and I think he's a little bit worried about it. But I said all that to say this. So, the Officer Tatum apparently went to one of these dog and pony shows and featured Vivek Ramaswamy. And the video, I was really interested. I was actually interested. I said, hey, let me just have a listen to this Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I'm intrigued. Okay. So the issue started out is I start looking at the video. Of course, Tatum comes in, Tatum bookends with a whole lot of, oh, go to this store.com, go to this.com. And then at the bottom of the video, like we're saying, we're 10, he starts out with a little bit of a preview, kind of a teaser that he's giving this interview. He went to this dog and pony show. I don't remember which which uh which one of the dog and pony conventions that he did last. Uh I don't it's definitely not CPAC. It's something else, whichever one it was last. But he did this interview during that time. But out of the bottom, I start seeing that he's actually ranting about his subscribers. His subscribers are complaining about the way he presented this interview, this teaser, and then all of a sudden they're paywall blocked. And I'm just thinking, you guys not all roughly 3 million of you that are subscribers to that channel. He this was a trajectory that he's been on for quite some time. But I think because the likability of this candidate Ramaswamy, they're pissed that he did a trailer teaser for this interview and asked a huge question, led with a huge question at the beginning of this particular teaser, and then he only cut them off and the question was never answered. So they're really pissed. But I'm telling you, a lot of people, he has a lot of he has many things going on. Okay, he's got a store, he has a store, constant merchandise, sales. He's got a lot going on. And then he's got, of course, he got his radio show, and I have no idea. But I don't remember what all he has. But it's like he's becoming a little bit of an enterprise, or a little bit. But the subscribers were pissed because he's ranting below the box for this video with this teaser. This teaser trailer turned out to be a nothing burger for them. They didn't get the answer to his question. Now I'm paraphrasing. I think he's leading with the question, if TRUMP ask you to be a VP, would you accept it? Something like that. Check it out for yourself. But there's, but most of this interview turns out to be, sales. It's bookended with sales and more subscriptions. And I think there's only about 3 minutes in of the video of the interview, doesn't get close to answering the question as to whether, if TRUMP is chosen, if Ramaswamy is actually going to accept that. Um, so they were there. The subscribers are upset, they're touched, they're hurt, they feel betrayed, because they draw it down to, okay, it's a citizen, it's a citizen's kind of thing. They feel a little bit entitled. There is, they see, and that's where things get a little bit muddy. Being a businessman, and or either with his current agenda or his current business plan, and that's the officer Tatum's business plan. It He is saying his argument inside of his rant, inside of his complaint response was, "Oh, I'm getting censored, and there's some of the content on here. I don't want to get censored because I'll have to fire people, and just complete, condemnation if he were to post the entire interview and get banned on YouTube." Okay, he ranted and then dropped that in there at the end. He led with his frustration about how much free content that he provides for YouTube, and how much money it cost to produce a video like an interview, the one that he did at the last Dog and Pony Show with Vivek Ramaswamy. He puts all that in, and then he drops it at the end. Well, if I don't do this, then the people will be fired, and then people will never, they'll pull all of my my tons of videos off, and I'll never be seen on YouTube again. So he got a lot of backlash for that. He got a lot of backlash because a lot of people, like, I've still subscribed to him, even though I don't watch all of his content. I just check in every now and then, and this was interesting. Um, I just think you can't have it both ways. You can't have a, you can't have, I don't know. Somebody brought up the fact that maybe he should have gone over. He talks about Candace being like his little sis. Well, maybe he should have tried to get a deal, in maybe the Caller or something, Daily Wire or something. I don't know. Obviously, that wasn't a route that he was trying to take. He was trying to go do it the YouTube way. But he's getting pushed back for presenting content like that. And to be honest, I can kind of see it both ways. But you're not going to get people that are already stressed or already strapped for cash to keep pouring. You're not going to get people that are already strapped for cash to keep pumping and dumping money, into everything that you bring out. Because I'm telling you, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people are not interested in his love and black and white. They're not interested in his relationship with Corinne. They're not. They're not interested in paying for more subscriptions. I mean, some people drop those particular comments. They make those very specific points in the actual, responding to his comments, saying, "Hey, we were with you when you were at 250K. And every time we look around, basically you're getting, you want you want money, you want more money. And but honestly, I think that's also part of the scheme. YouTube entices you with, monetizing, and for all of that, their partnerships, and then, it just it just grows. And he has had a lot of success. I just don't know in this particular climate, in this campaign season, if, people are not going to, they're not going to really take kind to that. They're not going to. I can understand that. Maybe you need a separate platform just for the political season. That's just the way that it is. But the people that have already invested in him, the people on, oh, I bought three of your Christmas sweatshirts, and oh, I've bought this, I bought this, I bought that, I buy all your merch, and da 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 da. But here it is, you want $5.99. 5.99. I don't know, Tatum Plus. He's got this Love and Black and White, the Cigar Lounge, da 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 da. And see, to me, this plan is, you're starting to sound like some of these tech startup companies that ended up tanking out, or you're almost like you're spreading yourself too thin. But it's also being done. I think their issue with the facade that you're genuinely interested in, quote, the political climate, or the advancement, or the country. But then meanwhile, you're leading too much with with commerce, with sales and subscriptions, and honestly, his comments detracted from the message. Whatever. I mean, you got some good points, a couple of points from Vivek Ramaswamy on that interview, on that 3 minutes. You got a few things, but his question, the teaser question, was not addressed inside of that particular interview. It wasn't. Okay, just gonna be honest. And then at the end, if basically you got to go to tatumplus.com if you want to, if you want the subscription, and if you want to get that question answered, you've got to go to tatumplus.com. And a lot of people don't like that way of, they don't like that, they don't like the bait and switch. Okay, they don't like the teasers, they don't like the the clickbait, the cliffhanger. They don't like that. So, I can see, but because honestly, and then somebody brought up an interesting point. They said, well, I would imagine that if it's an interesting point, whether it's true or not, or on what basis, or if that's, Vivek Ramaswamy doing this actual particular interview with the Last Dog and Pony Show. Um, the point was made that perhaps Vivek Ramaswamy would not have even done this interview had they known that it was going to be that he was going to place it behind a paywall. He's going to lead with a question lead with a teaser question, and then go 3 minutes in, and then cut off the interview and say, hey, go to tatumplus.com. I was really excited to have that interview, and da 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 da. I think that, that's another, some people in there stated that they had unsubscribed, but it's an interesting, that's an interesting, to me, dichotomy, that a free country finds itself in, a free press, or the freedom of speech, First Amendment. It's not very much free. That's the dichotomy that the country remains in. Okay, but to me, perhaps it's a question it's always been there. Okay, and I really don't think we've ever really had a full First Amendment. And you could go back to other writers in the past, and World War II. If you weren't on board with the narrative for World War II and the amount of expense that it cost, that's a whole other show. Then you were suppressed. You've had writers and you've had writers and free thinking people going underground since those days. If you didn't tout America as the good guy on every single on when it came to your wars and all of this, you had to go underground. Or if you didn't think it, yeah, if you didn't tout America as a hero, you had to go underground. And that is, you can see that in writings from authors from that time period, the way their content, um, yeah, even the way the approach to writing, the style of writing, and the choice of language. So I'm just saying, I got to this. I got to this because, but I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say I'm not surprised at all. I'm really not. There's some things about the Officer Tatum that I can't listen to. I can't go through the cycle, the entire cycles of things. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going back on my word a little bit just because of the inner the interesting, or the I like seeing competent people in places. It's refreshing to see that we still have intelligent people, that diversity is not something that can be used to exploit people, rather than to present people. I do think this Ramaswamy is very. I think he'd make a hell of a press secretary. I really do, hands down. Communication is big, and the thing, and this particular administration that we have currently, articulation, communication is not, like, I've told you guys before about KJP. I don't think, and we talked about this in the stream the other night, about how allegedly there is a conflict between Kirby and Karine Jean-Pierre. Okay. Allegedly, there's a conflict there with her being on the domestic side and sharing the podium, and that there being allegedly that Kirby has interest in being the press secretary, and the nature of how he's still in the picture with all the experience he had, but then Jean-Pierre coming on the scene. And it even talks, that particular article I talked to you guys about from Axios, it talked about allegedly even Biden himself had frustrations with her not being informed, not knowing her target. I mean, to me, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to sit here and give you a whole lot of illusions, but what I will tell you is that if you are standing, if you are a pundit, or if you are put before the people in this country, and you say you're representing the 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 whatever in chief at the moment, the office of the whatever in chief, whoever that is, then you better know the target. And you better not only know the target, but you also better be informed. You better be informed. Yeah, no, you got to know your target, and you have to know your audience. And this KJP that's in place right now, she doesn't know either of those. And to me, the only way, that's the thing, the dilemma, to be an American right now, or to be the dichotomy is, you have to choose one or the other these days. There is no more true there. These illusions are so far from the fountains. The red illusion is far from the fountain right now. The blue illusions are so far away from the fountain right now that it is truly purple. They have squeezed the illusion until it's purple. For the lack of a better phrase, they have squeezed the tit of illusion of politics until it's literally purple, just like the agenda is. Okay? It really is. You cannot be, in order to have a KJP in place, she doesn't have any of those. She's not familiar with she's not, uh, she's not in her target. She doesn't know. Her her target, she doesn't know. She does not know. She doesn't have. She's not informed, and she does not have the illusions to inform her. This is a woman that is a probably naturalized citizen from the Isle of Martinique. She doesn't have what quasi what pseudo American. She doesn't reek anything about American values. She uses things like the American people and our democracy and da 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 da. She uses those kinds of buzzwords, but she does not have. She's not an assimilation, she's not assimilated or under any illusions of Americanisms or those. She's not. She doesn't have any of those. So no, she doesn't know the target. She's not informed. Um, and she does not know. She's just not. She doesn't have that quasi that quote citizen. She's not. She doesn't know what points to hit because she's not informed by any of that. She's only informed by buzzwords. She's, deflect, lie, deflect, whatever, and get out of the room. Though to me, that's almost kind of like her the way she works. She gets in and out. That's what she kind of goes in. When I think about it, it's kind of like watching somebody walk through a crowd. It's like a lunchroom fight at this cafeteria. You know what's about to be thrown at you, but all you can do is take your little notebook and cover your head and maybe come up for air every now and then just so you can make sure you can see where you're going. See your way out the door. That's the way I look at her. I've seen a lot of these press corps uh quasi press secretary meetings, and that's exactly the way. She jumps in, looks up, and points to somebody and ducks before while the tomatoes are being thrown. That's exactly what she does. She's got with her covering her head with her notebook. She points with her finger and grabs the notebook for cover until the next question. They don't know when she's gonna pop, when she's gonna come up for air again, but it'll be just enough. They give her just enough room to pop her head out before the next thing is lodged at her, and she's covering her head with the notebook. She does not, but I'm saying all that to say this. Ramaswamy is a communicator, which I think is very lacking in our in it's very lacking in this country. M- uh, The articulation, I think he is just, to me, he has a business background, but I think he's also his intellect. He's high. He is a high acuity to lead in many ways. But I'm just saying, in this case, if I was going full on illusion, I don't see the presidency. This country has got too many. There's too many illusions, and I'm more of the becoming more of the contention that this it was the way things are. We are a nation of exploitation. Okay, it's beginning to look like we were built for exploitation. That's all the people, not just the cherry cordials over here or the chocolates over here in the left side of the box. No, it's all people, black, white, Hispanic, whatever. And if you come here, you will eventually see where you are. What you will see. You will see where you rank in the scheme of things. But I'm saying I do think that he's the most articulate candidate. I think he's seen politics. I think he sees the bad investments, but see, that's the problem. The illusion is that America is investing in wars. They're not investing in their people. It's not about the people of this country. It's really not. In one of these interviews, I saw him do an interview with a guy. He's talking about Iowa caucuses, okay? He's talking about Iowa caucuses and the guys, giving him questions from Fox. This is a Fox interview, okay? But he's very consistent. And he can go off talking points. He can do all of this. He can do everything. I think international relations. I think he's a quick study. Um, I think he could do anything but be president of this country, and that's because that's not what it's designed for. In fact, when I look at the stats or whatever, yeah, they've got him trailing these typical the Haleys and the DeSantises and all. They've got him behind, and see, this is a part of the game. That's exactly he. Those are the establishments, the people. Those are the people that are never gonna go away. They are all defectors. They are defecting against whatever anything he could bring. Okay. I to me, I have no idea how this show is gonna end, but I don't. It's not gonna end with him. I don't think it is. Um, no matter who people are rooting for, whatever they're doing, it's not gonna end with him. I think he's great for many things, but because of where he's coming from, his trajectory, they don't want that. Of course, they don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want his type in there. They don't. Okay. But my thing is, if for people that are on color me hires and hocus, all that stuff, you somebody, he's competent. This guy is more than competent. Okay. If they're looking, if you're gonna, to me, you need to get the best person for any position. I don't care what it is. And I'm just saying, I'm tipping, I would listen to this guy because he's well composed, he's well educated, he knows the targets, but unfortunately, in fact, he's over the target. But because of the way because of the to me, the ancient Rome 2.0, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna fare well for him. And like I said, I will continue to watch some of this just because I think it's interesting that the GOP or the Republicans have a POC in this climate of this country, and to me, he's laying them all flat on many areas. Most people would much rather listen to him, and he's also very clear. He's very succinct. He knows how to get to the point. He knows how to do that. TRUMP, to me, this I've already told you guys, in my humble opinion, TRUMP is not going back into office. He is not. They're not going to allow it. It's not going to be allowed. Just as Ramaswamy, he would not even get us. He wouldn't be, according to these polls. He's trailing the two people. There's two people between him in the caucuses. Two people between him and TRUMP. He will not get to these. He will not get where he needs to be. The odds are, it's tough. But I said all that to say, I find this interesting. So to me, it's kind of like I find it interesting. So I'm gonna probably start looking at reporting a little bit on. I mean, we could do it. That's fine with me. We could do compare and contrast. Let's just do a whole Venn diagram, the TRUMP versus, Ramaswamy or whatever. But I'm telling you, YouTube is up to their old tricks again. And they've even issued, of course, this is how you know it's selection season, because they've already shown me a strike. They've shown me a warning. Oh, well, you can either do nothing or you can take training. You can't give me anything. There's nothing you can't give me. You can't indoctrinate me. No, you can't. Sorry. You can't. So they want to know, oh, well, here's a strike. You were doing medical misinformation back in 2021. Okay, that's like almost 4 years ago. And it probably wasn't even it wasn't even medical related. It's probably more about mind control or the mind effery that goes on. So I just like I said, I bought in. Maybe I could thank the Officer Tatum for the clickbait, the cliffhanger that brought me to Ramaswamy in the Iowa caucuses. So I think this is probably a good time for me. I'm interested in it because communications is a big deal. Is lacking in society, and I think this man can articulate his ideas. He's talked about, the current faction in the GOP wanting to cut Social Security, and he says that, why is is there a dichotomy between you cut this or do that? Well, you could do both, or the debt. I mean, he has a lot of business oriented solutions, and but to me, we've been betrayed. I think our government has betrayed us. The Social Security Trust and all that stuff. That stuff has been betrayed. We've been betrayed so long against that. And if you guys, I don't know how old you guys are, but back in the day, people talked about how by the time certain ages, certain groups of people got to, closer to retirement ages or whatnot, that there wouldn't be any Social Security. And this is what they saw the writing on the wall. But yet, what did we're still all being plunged into it, right? We're still all being, they're taking that money from you, rather than just like this guy Ramaswamy's suggesting that the money be, that money should have been invested 40 years ago. The trust should have been invested years ago into a portfolio. Well, why didn't they allow the individual to take that money, to take their own social, take that same amount of money, or that same percentage of money from their income earnings, and invest it, themselves? But no, you have to have a 401k. You have to have a 401k, or you have to have a Roth, or you have to figure other ways to try to fund your own twilight stage in life. So, I'm going to be keeping an eye on, just so you're going to get some occasional Ramaswamy updates from me. But I'm telling you, the issue, what brought me to this, was the Officer Tatum chose to use an interview that he conducted with Ramaswamy at a dog and pony show, posed a question as the teaser, and then didn't answer it, and then told the people, go subscribe to my channel, go subscribe to tatumplus.com to get to watch this. So I'm just saying, but I'm and see, I don't want to start talking about the Officer Tatum and the Corinne Officer Tatum, because that's a whole nother deal. I mean, it's a whole nother deal. And to me, I think if anything ever goes down with that, that's going to be a huge scandal, and people are going to see things, and he's going to probably find out very quickly. And as a matter of fact, I would imagine that he's finding out very quickly right away. I think he's under a mounds of pressure, because I mean, we're talking about somebody that was born and bred in California, and you know, right now she's kind of on an Instagram rich kind of a kick. But to me, I don't think he can. I mean, I don't want to. I'm gonna I'm gonna put a muzzle on it. Is what I'm gonna do. I don't want to say, because I don't want to. Oh, well, she was bashing. No, I'm just saying. Well, I just call it for what I see. I can tell you, because to me, for a while, back in the day, we're talking. Shout out to the class of CV-19. Back in the day, I think we were all interested in content creation, but we could also see that, that there was a division already in that there's levels to content creation, and what kind of controlled opposition that's there. I think we could all see that. And I've actually bought some of his wife's merchandise. But for a while, it was like, I wasn't, you don't, whether you agree with him or you like him, sometimes you don't really, if he has a good idea, okay, great. If she has a great idea, great. If she's communicating something that's more consistent with, you know, ideas that I have, great. But, I'm not going to spend, the average person is not going to be out here. I don't know who actually buys this kind of merchandise. Maybe they find it more advantageous or more satiating or more gratifying to buy merch for illusions, you know, or ideas that support their illusions. I don't know. Or just speak out against ideas that you don't agree with. Maybe they find that more rewarding or more satiating, or that keeps them going. But honestly, I can just kind of see some things, some scandal to me. I just finding out who people really are in a rough way. I would hate that, but there's some things that are kind of shaping up. There's some things that are kind of coming into focus, and I hate to say it, but I think that's what it is. But I do think that she is a driving force behind a lot of his decisions, a lot of his I don't know. I mean, YouTube. I mean, he does motivational. What the Officer Tatum? What he does, motivational speeches, and touting his ideas about Christianity, and all. And to me, they talk a lot about their relationship, and a lot of people have said, even point blank in that particular section after his under the video, that they don't want it. They're not interested in his relationship. They're there for the politics. Some people don't agree with him on many things. So you just keep kind of, taunting people, or basically saying do this or else, uh, or I'm going to withhold the content. Next time I won't even post the video, is what he said. And I just, oh, okay, well, that's a real, that's a mature businessman type of way to lead. He basically responded. He reacted. Let's say that. I think there's a difference between a reaction and a response. And I think he led with a reaction and tried to give a response and close it out with a response. I think sometimes it's much harder to lead with to lead with a reaction and give and close with a response. When you go 75, 80% reaction, and then you try to put that response on the end, look, your ratio was your reaction ended up being 3-1. 3 reaction and 1 to response. And that's what people got from him posting that clip, that 3 minutes. Because that's one thing that kind of bothered me as I've seen his brand grow. As I've seen him grow his brand and da 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 da. He's always led with a lot of merch and promotional stuff, like promote. He's still on that same thing. But the thing is, the people don't want to, his subscribers don't want to pay for promotion. They would rather, to me, I think a lot of them were arguing that they'd much rather that they should be able to see something from the democratic process. Notice I said process. I didn't say I'm not saying we're a democracy. They want to see the democratic process content be offered free, in the spirit of, dare I say, citizenry, or their right to vote. They want to see, they want access to candidates in a campaign or election season, or some people might say they're entitled to that during an election season, but they don't want it behind a paywall. That's what I think people were trying to say. I see what he's saying, but he talks about the cost, and see, he just, there I go. When you start reacting and ranting, and then you try to give a response on the end, you might as well, you've already burned it. You burnt your response opportunity up when you started with that whole reaction. Well, I won't. Maybe I won't post the video at all. So I don't know. Like right now, is there anybody out here that's actually subscribed to his channel and to any of his other things? Because any of his other commerce other than merch and subscription, I think it's $11.99. I'm gonna be honest. I think I clicked on it the other day. It's $11.99 a month to be a member on his to be yeah, I think $11.99, and then I think he wants you to pay another $5.99 for TatumPlus.com or Love and Black and White. I'm not sure if those are $5.99 a piece. And there's a cigar lounge. See, he's just, I don't know. I think it's kind of narcissistic to do some of these items. I mean, I don't think people are interested in a love in a cottage industry based on his relationship with his wife. That's just not interesting. People are not, they're not, clearly they're not. In an inflated economy, you got people paying subscribers at $11.99 a month. Then you want $5.99 for either Love and Black and White. I don't know if that's the cost. Yeah, I think one of them's another $5.99. So I don't know if you're subscribed to multiple things with him. I guess you're out of 20 something dollars a month or more. And if you're buying merch, you're giving more than that. So a lot of people have watched him go up, but it's gonna be a paywall season. I get what he's saying about content that is sensitive, but I don't know. He's aware of, to me, I wouldn't be surprised. I would have thought he would have had his own whatever by now. But if you just follow his lifestyle right now, you could just kind of see where I see the trajectory. And if you follow his wife, you can see, you can hey, as they say, put two and two together. It doesn't take Columbo. It doesn't take a decoder to kind of see. Yeah. I mean, people have called him out before on his climb before, so I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do now, but I just said all that to say thank you, the Officer Tatum. I took the bait, but it actually made me want to look at just listen to this guy, uh, Ramaswamy. So if that's all I got out of it, thank you for that. But no, I don't do subscriptions. I don't not to your situation. No, I don't. Free is somewhat still for everybody on some level. Is still you know is more inclusive, but maybe it's not good for your wallet. Maybe it's not. But this is where you started, and so unless you got a different business plan or a different scheme that you're going to invest in, you might need to try to get a deal somewhere else. But I don't know if you're going to be in control. Now, I'm not a business person. I don't profess to be, but I would imagine if he would go to see, this is the control issue. You're also not in control. Clearly, you're not in control on YouTube if that's where you're going to keep your business. But then, even I would imagine if you would go to the Daily Wire or some of these other, if he had joined Crowder or some of these other people, I think even some of that he would still have some regulations. regulations. So I don't know, but if you're interested in that, then you'd have to go over there to that. But I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna be doing some commentary on Ramaswamy, and yeah, I don't know about the TRUMP. I'm just saying, I'm not listen, for those of you, if you are highly triggered by um if you think this is a TRUMP versus Ramaswamy kind of thing that I'm setting up here, no, I'm not. Basically, I am basically kind of profiling and seeing what the choices are. I see, it's a society kind of thing to me. It's more like a give back to society. It's about the best we can hope for. I hate to be Debbie Doomer, Loomer Doomer, Negative Nancy, but I don't have very much faith in. I don't have any faith in this system, but I do know an intelligent an intelligent quote candidate when I see one. I see, I think he could do everything. They used to tell old kids, "Oh, you could be anything. We could grow up. You could be the president of the United States." To me, that's another illusion. Okay, but hey, it'll be interesting to see how they treat him in the game. And I already see. To me, there's really not a bunch of mystery in that. But the way but to see how long he's going to last with these people is what I'm going to be following. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you are on this moonlighting stream, but let me know what you think in the comment section. I mean, how long will it be before you know? I DeSantis and Haley. Some of these people to me are just. Ooh. I'm looking on the. I, I can't stand to listen to I don't know. That's not me being an elite snobby person, but I do think communication is a big deal, and it's such a rare quality. I mean, you can't see it. You don't see a whole lot of articulation and intelligence in our society these days. So I'm excited about that. Okay. So if you're interested in that, you might see me do a little bit on that. But am I digging into it? Am I all in for it? No, no, I'm just giving commentary and just forecast for this show. Okay. All right, guys. Forecast for the show, for the stage. All right, guys. I will see you later. Have a great start to your Monday.